Hi. So I just made a video where I was trying something new, and this video might feel a little bit dull, but it's the best I've got. So let me just open it up, and let's read. Shut up! You gotta learn something. Sorry. I'm just okay. Now, don't believe anything that I read. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. Don't believe anything that I read in the past, I don't know, like 2 or 3 minutes. Don't believe it all, because none of this is technically historically accurate. Okay, with that said, let's get started. It all started in 1804 with Kate Nelson and the Great England War. In 1784, Kate was born in Maine to a poor orphanage. Her mom owned the orphanage, but was not very nice to her children. In 1787, Kate's mother had some money and they moved to England. In 1802, the Queen was accused of killing the Chinese emperor. Civil War begun. Tragedy struck, and over 1,000 lost their life, including Kate's mom. Kate, being the oldest, took responsibility. On May 23rd, 1804, Kate was trying to escape England to go back home to America. But as Kate got to the river, a gun shot into Kate's back, knocking her into the river. A man was walking past the river with his dog and saw Kate. The man and his dog jumped into the river, grabbed Kate, and pulled her up into the city. When Kate did not respond, the man picked her up and ran to the hospital. She had one big bullet wound in her back, and doctors said that Kate may not make it.
I can't hear that.
But amazingly, Kate survived the fateful shot. As Kate woke up, the first thing she saw was the man who saved her life. Hi, Kate said as she woke up from her coma. She fell in love. The man's name was Kevin Jackson. 3 years after the rescue, Kate and Kevin were married. It was found out a month after the marriage that Kate was having a baby. But Kate was worried about the baby being born in England. The war was still going on, and they were worried about the man who shot Kate. What if he tried to kill the baby? It was too much to think about, so they went back to the USA. They took home in a city in Alabama. 8 months later, Kate gave birth to 2 healthy twins, a boy and a girl. They named the twins after their grandparents, Vixen II and Eve. But sadness struck what looked like a perfect family. Vixen was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and Eve was diagnosed with a stomach tumor. Eve had the tumor removed but was still sick, and Vixen's hallucinations were 3 hours apart. This made Kevin and Kate sadder every day. When the twins were 16 years old, Kate and Kevin divorced. Vixen's schizophrenia went from sad to scary. He started to talk about his other family, second sister, and the fact that he lived on a different planet. I would just be walking normally when 5 different things would fly at me. My mom would be a coconut, my sister would be a woodpecker, and everything would go black, he wrote years later. Things got better. Vixen took a job as a writer and earned $2,000 a year. Life was flying off and getting better. Eve was declared cancer-free. But just before Vixen was going to propose to his girlfriend, a new setback came along. That morning, Kate complained about mild chest pain. What went on with her day? At the park, Kate started to breathe heavily, and right before Vixen could get down on one knee, Kate screamed, "Ah!" She passed out. Remember the gunshot? When the gunshot entered Kate's back, it got in her lung. It slowly has had fluid build up. Kate spent 3 weeks in the hospital before she sadly passed. Vixen realized that if Kate wasn't ever shot by the man, then Vixen would still have his mother. So Vixen became a police officer to protect others. And Vixen got married to Diana Host. About a year later, they had a son whom they named Alex. Meanwhile, Eve was in a movie about her life, and how her condition changed her life, and how she'll be weak and needs help with everything for the rest of her life. At the age of 30, she received the first Oscar ever. As with Vixen, Alex is now 12 and was in his first movie. He played a young boy who's in a coma due to a climbing accident, and he's lost in a sick, twisted mind. Critics gave him from 3 to 5 stars. These range from this film was the most boring film I've ever seen in my life to Sweet Mother of God, this is the most intense film I have ever seen. Alex became an overnight star. In his next movie, he met his future wife, Nikki Littlewoods. She played the love interest. In the movie, Alex played an angry preteen who was trying to find and kill the man who killed his sister. Nikki was the girl who tried to stop him. The film made over $12 million, which helped Alex win an Oscar and milked 5 more sequels. By the time Alex was 16, he made 102 movies and received 34 Oscars. and also received an award for Best Male Child Actor. Back to Eve. She was married, but no kids, until 3 years later, quadruplets. 2 boys and 2 girls. Back to Alex. On a trip to Alaska, Alex was lost on a mountain. His family looked all over the mountain. Alex was freezing to death. By the time Diana found him, he was passed out. His family feared he was going to lose his legs, but thankfully Alex lived. 5 years later, Alex married Nikki. They had 1 of 3 kids, Nick, Nia, and David. Nia's first movie was the 6th Soloist movie. It finally shows why the sister was killed. She was tested on as a newborn and had escaped. Scientists promise the man who finds her alive will be rewarded $1 million. For her being found dead, the man will be rewarded $4 million. At the age of 46, Alex and Nikki were about to star in their last movie before taking early retirement. It was a documentary about the Civil War, or about a family fighting in the Civil War. It took place in Boston and all over America. But something happened. In a stagecoach, the horse was acting up. If they got close to a river, the horse got agitated. The whole coach toppled into the river. They drowned instantly. The reason for this is because as the coach was dragged down, the handle rusted, making it impossible to open. The family was sad, and so was the world. All the children, except David, decided to keep their parents' name alive. They starred in all sorts of movies. Nia and Nick starred in a Christmas movie called The Angel Over My Head. It was about 2 kids in an orphanage who were trying to keep their mother's spirit alive for the holidays, even with their tiny pay. When the kids were 19, they made it to New York, but every penny went to new movie. Hold on. Never mind. Went to a new movie called Two Souls. It was about 2 kids who at first hated each other. When their families are in danger, they must put their hatred aside to help one another. Nia and Nick played the mom of the girl, and Nick played the dad of the boy. The movie barely made a cent, so the studio did not pay Nick and Nia. And every week, David would send a telegram that said the same thing every time. How's the big city? Ha! I told you so! In order to make some money, Nick and Nia became a street comedy act. What you are about to read is real dialogue from one of their comedy acts. So you have any good clogs, Mr. Plumber? Yes, and it's a good thing I'm a plumber. So, what's in your pants? It happens when I meet cute girls. I eat bananas. They made so much money that they got their first TV show. It's basically their street act that you did not have to go outside to see. But the director introduced 2 new characters that would be their lovers, Francis and Holly Coleman. It was an amazing, sparkling, blue wedding. Nick and Holly had their baby girl, Dawn. Me and Francis had triplets, Katie, June, and Zane. His real name was Russell, but in an interview he told that he wanted to be called Zane. Nick and Holly got into a fight about having their kids be in movies. Nia disappeared after that night. Police went straight to the case. It was found out a year after the murder. Nick killed his little sister. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison. It was believed that night, as Nick and Nia started to get angry, Nick punched Nia and got violent. He grabbed his metal baseball bat and beat his sister 12 times. 6 times in the head and 6 times in the spine. After 11 shots, he hit her 1 more time straight in the spine. She died immediately. Then he chopped her limbs off, put them in garbage bags, and threw her body in a freezer at the store. At first, the kids were confused why they were not allowed to see their uncle. Dawn was only 5. She refused to even watch a movie. Her cousins wanted to keep their mother alive in their minds, so at the age of only 6, they were in a movie. It was about 3 special kids that find out that their real mom and dad are aliens, and they inherit their super intelligence. They need to find a way to get to their home planet and save... Hold on. Computer's acting all boggly. Well, in the meantime, let's do some advertising. Please, I do not own any of these products. Letitious a la barbacoa. Ha! Del dia... Ah! Ah! that chicken from Popeyes. I give up. Let's see if this will work again. Okay. From an evil man who wants to steal their life energy to get rich. It was very successful, and at the will reading, Mia handed over her $17,000 to her kids and her rights to favorite movie company, Gold Studios. For the rest of their life, they worked for Gold Studios. Good news, right? No! Gold Studios was a horrible company. About 90% of their movies bombed, until they fired their main director, Victor Prince, and replaced him with Kara Motif. After that, the number dropped to 10%, until they made a movie about a baby angel who was trying to find his family and trying to make them forget about his tragic passing. Everyone loved it. It was gems and more gems from that point forward. Then a new actor was introduced, Sky Palsy. More on this later. Kate was in love with Sky. June and Zane knew that there was something up with Sky. When Kate went to Sky's home, he saw a large gun. Sky went on and on about how his granddad escaped the murder of Kate Nelson. After doing some research, Kate discovered that she was her grandmother. Kate yelled at Sky for hours. She told her siblings that she was going to live with Dawn and her family. So at the age of only 17, Kate went to live with Dawn, her husband, and her 3 kids. The oldest was Trevor, 13. The middle child was Joey, 7. And the youngest was E.T., 2, or Elizabeth Taylor. Kate loved being with her cousin. The child that she loved the most, well, everyone loved the most, was Joey. Of course, she loved Trevor and E.T., but the one she spent the most time with was Joey. But then, something happened. At a family picnic, Trevor was playing catch with Joey. The ball rolled into the road. As Joey got the ball, an out-of-control carriage raced down the path. Before Joey could get out of the way, a nickel got his attention. Trevor raced to the pathway to get his little brother, but by the time he got there, it was too late. Joey had 7 broken ribs and a severe concussion. He died a month after the incident. Out of all the kids to be devastated, it was Trevor. He locked himself in his room, muttering, "It's all my fault. It's all my fault!" Katie was worried about Trevor. At night, she had nightmares that she would walk into Trevor's room and he would be hanging by a noose. Katie took him to a doctor. After a few weeks in the hospital, Trevor was diagnosed with a severe mental illness. The doctor said it would be best if Trevor was sent to Paul's Hospital for Children in Florida, but his family said if he was going, they were too. The Jackson family lived in a nursing home near the hospital. Every day, Trevor's family came to see him. During his first 3 weeks at the hospital, Trevor looked better and better, but then they lost his mind to the deep pit of sadness. It started when Katie got Trevor a get-well-soon gift. It was a family photo of when they were all happy. At first, Trevor looked very happy, but that night, as Katie got ready to give Trevor his pills, she heard harsh sobbing from Trevor's room. The photo's frame was smashed. No matter how hard Katie tried, she could not get Trevor to stop crying. The doctors put him in a drug-induced coma. Oh, mother! Oh my god, that's the longest video I've ever made! I am not watching that. I do not want to have to make this video over again. But yeah, in the comments, tell me if you think there's anything I could do to improve that story, and yeah. Love that chicken from Popeyes!